Oh, cool. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Dinah Samir Search for Huru. Today we are discussing should Black Americans build in America or focus all of their energy in regards to and just build in Africa? And the reason why we discuss this, because this sometimes is a very touchy subject. And what I mean, many will say Black people are wasting their time building and investing in America because every time we tried it, it's been destroyed by racists. For example, you have Black Wall Street, which is the most common example that people use. You have Rosewood. I mean, there are several instances when Black people uh, were attempting to build their own infrastructure, attempting to build infrastructure where they would circulate their dollars amongst only each other, were in positions of power, where it was all destroyed by racist whites. I mean, you have the St. Louis race riots. I mean, you have riots in New York where whites were killing blacks just because black people had uh, were given the opportunities as far as work and the opportunities to build their own communities, and many got jealous and killed and rioted and started to murder us because they out of pure jealousy and hate. So, we have brother RJ Mahdi with us on today, who's currently in Senegal. Brother Mahdi's from Atlanta, correct?
Yeah.
Born and raised. Oh well, not even raised, but born in Atlanta.
Well,
Um,
I was born in Philadelphia, but I was raised in Atlanta.
okay, born in Philly, raised in Atlanta. You've relocated to Senegal,
Mhm.
upped and left, sold everything. You have nothing here in America. You upped and left. You're full time in Senegal, correct?
Mhm.
Right, upped and left, went to
For now.
Senegal, and has built a number of enterprises in Senegal. Now, RJ, from your perspective, why did you choose to I guess heavily invest in Africa and not have any hope or invest or build here in America?
For a better way to explain it was I felt that it was 100% necessary. I
Mhm.
felt that it was a shot at rebuilding something that we can be proud of in a place where it can be appreciated. Um, a lot of when it comes to building and developing, it comes to your care and love for a place. And
Mhm.
sometimes if we're going to invest, a lot of our own time and energy and income into something, we want to invest into something that's going to be obviously appreciated and well received and taken care of after we leave, and things that we're going to be able to, leave for our children. You know, for too long in America, we've seen ourselves and our communities and our ancestors invest in great ideas, great organizations, great towns and cities, excellent opportunities that they provided for us, and we watched all of those things be systematically destroyed, by whoever. We're not even going to put a name on who did it. But in that environment, we've watched all of those things be systematically destroyed. And, sometimes we have to sit back and look. We have to learn from history. We have to learn from those who have tried and tested things before us. Um, I made a post earlier, and I guess a lot of people, understood where I was coming from, where I said that, the definition of insanity is doing something over and over and expecting different results. And I feel like for too long we've done that. We've tried to, do these same things over and over again, only to watch them fail, and not even fail at necessarily our own fault, but fail due to the fact that, as you just said, there are institutions and powers that be that spend a great amount of time and resources to make sure that we don't implement those things in that environment. And if you have that knowledge that those things are happening, there comes a time when you have to say, okay, if I'm going to build, if I'm going to develop, where is the best place where it will be appreciated and I can be, proud of it later. So Africa just is the perfect place, and not because we have so much to offer Africa, but also because Africa has so much to offer us, mentally, psychologically, culturally, traditionally, um, and I think it's one of the best matches when it comes to to thing to a person in a place. It's only right.
Let me ask you this. So many will say, "Hey, RJ, Black Wall Street, Rosewood, that was the past. We're now in 2018. We need to get on. We need to let that go. We need to move forward. I mean, you Black people have just as much of an opportunity to build here in America as white people. You need to get off that stuff, RJ. What would you be your response?
Well, I mean, I would just say to that person to, take a deeper look into what's happening now. Obviously, we have those examples that are in the past, but you can only have an example that's in the past. You can't have an example that's in the future, right?
Right.
So when we learn from examples, obviously they're going to be in the past.
Oh, RJ,
But what has changed?
that was powerful what you just said. Please repeat that so people can hear that again.
I mean, it's just it's just logical thinking. It's not even really ingenious or anything. It's just logical
Mhm.
thinking. We can only learn from the past.
Right.
Everything that we know of and everything that we do right now, we do it because of past experiences. So,
Right.
for instance, if a doctor prescribes you a certain medicine or treatment, it's because past experience or tests prove that somehow that was beneficial for your ailment. If you eat a certain food, if you become a vegan, right, it's because you know of something in the past before now that showed you that that was a beneficial thing to do. So we always learn from the past. We have spiritual books that teach us from past examples. We have books written by some of our greatest leaders and Pan Africanists and teachers that we read and learn from the past. We have even here on the ground in Senegal. You understand you being one someone who travels to Tuba and me being someone who lives in Medina Bay, we understand that we take a lot of our traditional and cultural mentalities and ideologies from people who lived in the past, people who left examples for us before we were even here. So Marcus Garvey is no different. Greenwood, Tulsa, Oklahoma is no different.
Right.
Rosewood, Florida is no different. The movement in Philadelphia in 1985 is no different.
Right.
And all the way until today, organizations like Black Lives Matter and NAACP, all of these organizations that are so-called for us, we watch them be systematically taken over by the powers that be in that environment, for the purpose of destroying them so that they can't provide those opportunities to us. I don't think that there's anybody that can give me a one organization, one Black organization in the United States that has consistently provided opportunities for us, not strayed us or sold us a dream or propagandized us against ourselves, etc. You can't really show me that. You can't show me that example, but I can show you tens of thousands, and yes, I said tens of thousands of Black American repatriates living here on the ground in Africa. Ghana has said that they have 15,000 living in their country right now. South Africa has another 5 to 10,000. Senegal has hundreds. I live in a very small community, and we live with nearly 100 Americans living here right now, and they've all been here for years. Many of them have homes here. Many of them invested in businesses and land and real estate. Some of them have farms. Some of them are here teaching, and some of them are here learning. Some of them are here in school 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 6 years, studying from the wealth of information and knowledge and cultural tradition here on the ground. So if I can show you that example, and it's happening right now, right?
Hmm.
Can you show me an example of a sustainable, independent Black community, nation, town, state, anything, any municipality in the United States where we run it from the top to the bottom? Can
I
anybody?
can't. I can't. Anybody in the chat room, please, if you could show us an example, please place it.
We are 50 million strong in the United States with a $1.2 trillion buying power. And we own not a thing worth anything. And it's not 100% our fault because we've tried. We've obviously tried. We see a lot of examples over the past 100 years, and some of them as early as, the past few years. But where do they all end up? Mm-hmm. The proof is in the example and what we see.
All right, so let me answer this question, RJ. Well, Indians, immigrants in general, they come here, they build institutions, they're doing well. They like to use the Nigerians, they come to America, they're highly educated, their median income is higher than Black Americans. Look at them, they're building here in America. Why are Black Americans why aren't they holding themselves accountable? Why are they playing the victim card or the victim role? All right, why do Black Americans have this victim mentality? What would be your response to that?
That's a great question. I want to make 2 points actually from what you just said, because actually Indians, I was actually thinking about the Native Americans, forgive me. But let me point this out. The Native Americans, even themselves, just as wanted as the African American population, just as undercut in society, all right? They did exactly what Black people are talking about right now and went out to the, upper Northwest, Montana and in the far, valleys of the upper Northwest and created their own communities.
Right.
That turned out for them.
It didn't turn out.
Look how marginalized they are.
Right.
Look how terrible the resources and the access to technology and the things that they need out there. I know Native Americans personally in my family. Okay, my wife's cousin is married to a Native American and lives on a reservation, and we hear the horror stories all the time of how they're treated and how they don't get the type of government resources that you're supposed to get when you live in a country that pays taxes and you own land, et cetera. There are things that you expect from your municipalities. And we hear the horror stories of how they're treated and, what happened with the whole pipeline thing. And, what's to say that won't happen to our independent Black community there? We set up our whole city and, put all our money into it. Everybody puts houses and buys lands and creates all of this opportunity. What's to say that, Navy going to come through there in 5 years and tear it all down because they got to run a pipeline through it? What's to say that the local country hillsmen are not going to ride through there in the middle of the night and burn it down while our families sleep? What's to say that the state police is not going to cop and drop 4 bombs on our houses because we want our own environment, right? Because we've seen in the past, we haven't seen it. We haven't seen a success in that. But again, with repatriation, we've seen success. So the second part of that, again, Indian part was, you mentioned the Nigerians and the other foreigners that come to the United States, they get degrees and they live well. Even if you look at that, it's largely flawed because you're talking about people who are leaving their country in search of opportunity, right? Or in search of an education, right? They come to the United States to better accredited education, right? A degree, and then they get stuck there. Right? They get into a job, you just became a doctor degree, but now you're going to go and use that medical degree in a hospital in America. But what about the hospitals in Nigeria that you left behind? What about the lack of medical experience here in West Africa? Right? So even if you take those people and you say, okay, they're living well there, what did they succeed at? They only really saved themselves. They only really went through great lengths, paid good money to go there and end up getting stuck there using their talents and resources and experiences to help there. And they're not even from there, right? So, even that is severely flawed. It's my belief that, if those people have the same access to those resources, you wouldn't have people like Donald Trump calling Africa shitholes, right? Because all of those very well experienced Nigerian doctors and Indian doctors and, foreign doctors in America that are stuck over there working in practices in America. If they were in their own countries, we wouldn't have those problems. So really being, I see them as somebody who came to America under the auspices of chasing the American dream, and eventually ended up getting stuck there and only using their talents and resources to develop a country that really cares nothing about them or where they're from. The president, the commander in the country told you how he feel about.
Man, RJ, you're going in and out, brother. Hello. I think we lost the brother briefly. Hopefully, he'll hop back on pretty soon. But everybody who's in the chat, thank you so much for joining us. Greatly appreciate it. I think this is an important conversation. Not saying that all the other streams weren't important, but this is definitely an important conversation. Hopefully, the brother could hop back on. RJ Mahdi is currently resides in Senegal, in Medina Bay, a city called Medina Bay. He's doing very well. He's doing very well in Senegal. So again, the topic of discussion is, should Black Americans build in America or Africa? And again, the reason why we're discussing this topic is many are hesitant, I guess, to invest in America because of what's happened in the past in regards to Rosewood, Tulsa, Oklahoma. You have the St. Louis riots. Whenever Black people come together to build their own communities, they get destroyed. So I think RJ primarily speaks just Wolof. I'm not sure if he speaks French. I asked him that question before. So yeah. So hopefully the brother will hop back on here shortly. See where he's at. RJ, you there? Let me send him a message on Facebook real quick. Hold on 1 second. Guys, I apologize about the technical difficulties. Just if you could just be patient with us, please. Please be patient. You want my shirt? I got another one for sale. It's not exactly like this, but I do have another one. Before the chat is over, I'll bring it downstairs and you can take a look at it. But this one's not for sale. I'm keeping this one. What, Dinus, please stop the nonsense. What Black is hesitant to invest in America that has real money? How much for this shirt? I mean, for the whole outfit, 170. Damn, this is the second time. I have to look into the Soda, Texas. I have to look into it. Yeah, he got only 2 years, the influenza guy. Come on, RJ. Please come back, bro. We need you here. This was too important of a conversation for us to lose you. And everybody who's watching on Facebook, Brother David, I will get to your question when RJ gets back. And same thing with you, Avi. I will definitely get to your question. Make sure RJ addresses your question. Just hope the brother comes back. Hopefully the brother comes back soon. See what we got going on in the chat room. You made it back to Togo. I was just in Togo in January. Love Togo. It used to be real grimy in the soda, really. Let's see here. Okay, I think he just messaged me. No, that's not him. Elaine. Yes, Elaine. I'm just waiting for Rashad to come back on. We lost the brother. For capital and cash generating purposes, don't completely rule out the states. That is one giant money making machine, and you have nationality. I agree. I agree. I completely agree. Now let's just hopefully we get the brother back on. Damn. All right, we'll give him 5 more minutes. If we can't get him back on, I apologize, you guys. I apologize. Hopefully we get him back on though. You know, my allergies were doing a whole lot better. My sinuses were, and then my sinuses just went to hell today for some reason. Kobe Smith, I am an African American and I own homes in Liberia, West Africa, and the United States. We need to do both. We need to invest in Africa while never turning our backs on our heritage in America. Why do you say that, Kobe? African Americans need to invest in Liberia. How do you feel about that, Professor Davis? I know you're still here. About African Americans investing in Liberia. That's good. A good question. Oh, also too, whenever you super chat, once again, you're gonna get a postcard. Email me and let me know which one you want. If you want the one with me in the Royal Guard, the Ashanti Royal Guard, or if you want me with the King of Alada. So just let me know which one you want. So if you super chat, shoot me an email with your address, and I'll make sure I get them out to you. Damn, RJ. Hold on, let's see. Okay, here we go. So he just messaged me back. Connection's jacked up. All right, let me message him. When you come back on, turn off your video. All right, he's messaging me now via Facebook. I'm back. Send the link again. All right, let me send him the link. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Hopefully this works out. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Again, everybody, sorry about the technical difficulties. Let's get him back on. Compose. All right, Mahdi. 3. All right, just send him the link. Cool. Send to Hangouts. Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me send it to Hangouts. In the chat box. Okay, got you. Give me 1 second, you guys. We're working this out. Thank you for being patient, everybody. Everybody in the chat room, thank you for being patient. The brother's gonna come back on now. Come on. Right there he goes. Brother's back. All right, we're back. We were worried. We thought you got kidnapped by aliens.
Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, some people have some. Are you ready to ask some questions, or do you want to finish your statement before you got cut off?
No, let's go ahead, man. Let's take some questions. Let's open the floor.
Okay. So question number one is, and we've heard this before. People are making a statement that France controls Senegal. Is there any truth to that? Then I'll ask part B of the question.
Well, absolutely. We know that France played a huge role in the colonialism of the colonizing. Of a lot of West Africa and much of Africa, including Senegal. Senegal did gain its independence from France in the 1960s, but still pays a large tax to France for its contributions to the colony. And yes, that poses a difficulty to the financial structure of the country and of its debt base and how it handles that. But to me, personally, myself, it's my opinion that it plays very little role in the personal development of the people in the country. So, for instance, America also has a huge debt. America is trillions of dollars in debt to China and much of the rest of the world. Trillions of dollars. But that doesn't stop people in America from being successful, having, decent businesses and things of that nature, right? There's still many wealthy people in America, despite the fact that it's severely in debt. So, yes, the same thing with Senegal. And we hear that all the time, the fact that, Senegal and West Africa, a lot of French countries pay a lot of money to France. That's a problem that's kind of a little bit above our ability to really challenge at this point. What we're focusing on at this point is ourselves, our communities, and those groups of us that are marginalized for whatever reasons. And then, when we can get to the level of, sitting in presidential palaces and things of that nature, then we can start to fight a little larger fight to free Africa and its greater, populace from those kind of debt systems. But does that affect the everyday lifestyle of the people here on the ground? I don't think so. I think that there's a huge opportunity aside from that. And that's kind of something that, is on a different level.
Okay. Question number two. I'll call this a scared Negro's excuse to not build in Africa. If Black Americans en masse come to, we'll say, Senegal, all right, to help build Senegal and invest in Senegal, many Black Americans obviously are culturally different from Africans. Do you think there could be a situation where we'll have a Liberia 2.0? Even though people don't know the true history behind Liberia, and that Liberia was actually a successful nation built by Black Americans until you had the coup and the Civil War. Liberia was
doing outside forces that came in and destabilized it. You're right.
Exactly. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, but at this point in time, I feel like even though we're culturally different, Black Americans have to understand that we are technically a tribe. We are our own ethnic group, just like there are 2,000 other ethnic groups and languages and tribes here on the continent of West Africa. Most of them are much different from each other. You look at the lifestyles of the Seres versus the Pular or Fulani. They're not the same. You look at the lifestyles of the Wolof versus, the Jolas or the Mandingos, and they have differences. And we as Black Americans are no different than that. We have our own fashion and, our own dialects and our own, traditions and cultures and things that we've developed over the past few hundred years. But that does not negate the fact that just like those other 2,000 tribes of different kinds of people mixed into the continent, it doesn't negate the fact that this is still our homeland. It's still our base, where our lineage comes from. And I think there's space enough for us here. I do also believe that for those of us looking to come here, there is a major shift in mentality that has to happen in order for you to be successful and to be accepted here. So, a lot of things that we do engage in our, former society or our oppressive society are things that we would need to shake or get away from in order to productively operate here. And even just as, the Honorable Marcus Garvey used to say, we don't want to take all Black people back to
Right.
Africa. Some of us are no good in America and would likewise be no good in Africa.
Right.
So when I say that Africa is the best opportunity or option for us to build and develop, we know that 50 million, African Americans are not going to come here.
Right.
Half of them are too bougie to do so anyway. The other, the other quarter of them, are probably, for lack of a better term, kind of stuck there, to the point where they're, severely indebted, or they're, felons who can't get a passport, or they, have other obligations and things that hold them down there that won't even let them go. So we understand everybody's not going to come, but there's a large population of us that are looking for better opportunities for ourselves and our families. There are large populations of us there that are stagnant because we don't know our culture and traditions. We don't know ourselves. We don't have those types of communication lines open to be able to find our inner purposes, right? So like I was saying earlier, it's not just what we can bring and give to Africa or support Africa with. Africa has a lot of things that will develop us also. In our characters, in our relationships, in our community lifestyle. There's a lot that we can learn here, about marriage, about, family, households and communities. These are things that are also as detrimental to us in our society there as those other powers that be that have whatever control over our lives. We can't always place the blame elsewhere. We also have to step up and say, at some point in time, we have some issues that we need to fix. But just as I feel like it is a great opportunity for us to come here economically and develop, I feel like it's also a great opportunity for us to come here and develop in our inner selves and our personalities and characters, develop that type of warm community, family, loving, moral standing that the African people display.
Okay. Another question. Do you personally think it's a good idea? Because a couple of people said that it's okay to invest in Africa, but do not, I guess, fully remove yourself from America when it comes to investing in America, because America is still a cash cow. What are your thoughts on that statement?
Well, one of the things, if anybody who's a student of economics or a student of even sales, period, they'll tell you, buy from your own, but sell to everybody.
Right.
So obviously, we wouldn't cut America off as a potential trading partner. Obviously, we wouldn't cut America off as a place to be able to export African products and do business back and forth services, and et cetera. But doing business with a place and living in a place are two different things. We, even myself right now with our Made in Africa project, we do a great deal of business with other African Americans to help them to push their businesses there on the ground in the United States. So we're not just here on the ground in Africa, just helping, the people here or just putting all our efforts here. What we've done is created a bilateral trade and a bilateral open line of communication that provides opportunities for people on both sides of the ocean. So not only are we helping the local tailors and craftsmen and artisans and producers of goods here on the ground the opportunity to sell their products abroad, we're also providing opportunities for the local boutique owners, the Black-owned vendors, the people that you see at Afropunk, the people that you see selling clothes at those hair festivals, and the folks that you see selling clothes out at your local, either your flea markets or your community markets, who are selling these dashikis, these skirts, these head wraps, the jewelry. You see these people, I'm sure, in your communities.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Those people are getting their stuff from us.
Mm-hmm.
Those people are there able to run a business, provide opportunities for themselves and their families, and pay their bills, to get outside of the rat race and make money aside from their day jobs, only because a bridge has been made between them and the continent. Do you understand how that works? So
Absolutely.
we're providing opportunities on both sides because we understand, like I said a while ago, that some people are going to be stuck there. Some people are not going to want to leave. Some people are not going to have the opportunity to leave. And some people just frankly can't leave. I got a lot of friends and close cousins and brothers who, you know, can never get a passport or for years and years. And, you know, I always talk to those guys. We build all the time. We talk about how they're on the ground without the opportunity to travel can still be able to participate in that bilateral trade and that bilateral communication that creates opportunities on both sides. It's very necessary. So yeah, I mean, I think that trading and doing business there is one thing, but you know, we have to be careful about where we really plant our feet and build our establishments.
Let me ask you this. You brought up the whole passport situation, because I know there are brothers, I don't know them personally, because of child support, they're not able to get a passport and travel. You know, I'm not sure of all the laws in regards to, you know, what you have to do in order to get your passport privileges taken away. I'm running into a lot of older people that don't have passports. Let's start off there. What's the importance of just getting a passport? Because some people, some people don't find value in it, bro. You'll be surprised.
Yeah, that's dangerous. That's like not finding value in a driver's license. You know, how you gonna move about? How you gonna handle your business? How you gonna, you know, travel where your feet can't take you? You know, so a passport is just as important as a driver's license. You know, the world is so big. The world is so big with so many opportunities, so many places, so many people that will love you and appreciate you and welcome you and take you into their homes and feed you and you know, build opportunities with you. You know, marry you. You know, have kids and families with. There's so many billions of people around the world. I think that we're doing a great injustice to ourselves by telling ourselves that we can only survive in America. When we tell ourselves that we've completely cut off 93 or more percent of the whole rest of the world, we've cut off so many opportunities, so many relationships, so many options, and now we sit down in a place and then complain about how, you know, oppressive it is or unfair it is, or you know, how much it lacks justice, or how much is corrupt, or how much is in debt, and you know, et cetera, et cetera. But you just cut off 93% of the rest of the world for options to do that. And I'm not just saying only Africa can, you know, provide. I'm saying there's so many places. I got, you know, friends that are living in Indonesia and Singapore, living good, running businesses, having, you know, land, etc. You know, and there's so many other places. So we just have to look at a passport as a bridge to a very large portion of our opportunities. It's the only way you can leave the country. If you even want to go to Jamaica or you know, Central America or even Canada, you gotta
in fact, hold on. I'm sorry to cut you off, RJ. Now, I want to say to fly in between certain states, you have to have a passport because they're saying your driver license is valid as a valid form of ID to fly or travel between certain states here in America.
I heard that recently. Is that really a thing now?
Yeah. This is a force. Yeah, it's called the Real ID Act. That's what it's called, I think. The Real ID Act.
Wow. You see?
That's crazy. So I wonder how that's going to affect people who are on parole or owe back child support when it comes to going to a different state.
And that's just another way that they're you know, closing us in. You know, it's kind of like, you know, you're standing somewhere and then all the walls just slowly start to cave in, right? You were already claustrophobic, right? It was already too close, and then they just break something else and make it closer, and then they break something else and make it closer. And that's all they're doing. You know, a lot of our people there are very soon gonna be stuck and against their will. That's what I feel. I feel like, you know, more and more of us, instead of coming out of the situation we're in, I feel like in the near future, more of us in that environment are going to find ourselves stuck due to a plethora, a variety of, you know, weird loopholes and laws and castrations that keep us from, you know, living out our lives.
Someone was asking in the chat room, we discussed this before, do you have your Senegalese citizenship?
No.
Do you feel as if it's important to have it? And the reason why I ask, well, number one, can you have dual citizenship in Senegal? And the reason why I ask that, I think having an African passport, so you could travel in between ECOWAS countries and not have to pay for a visa, to me is great. I mean, I find value in that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's value in that, especially now that they've created the ECOWAS passport that allows you to travel through all of the West African countries, like you say, without paying visas, things like that. There's value in that for sure. I don't travel amongst too many of the countries as much as I may should, so it hasn't posed a huge, challenge for me. But obviously, as an American citizen, you can travel the world freely, and that is, something that I feel like it's owed to us. You should be able to travel the world freely. You shouldn't have to change your physical identity or identification to, you know, just to move about. Maybe I live in Senegal for 5-10 years, and then I'll go live in Namibia or I don't know, Ethiopia. Who knows, right? So those kind of things I don't really feel like it's 100% necessary. As long as my passport is valid and I can travel with it, then there's no real need to open up a whole can of worms of citizenships and all of these different things. Um, just get out there. For most people who think that I know a lot of people who ask me this. They always say, well, if I come there and I stay there in a period of time, do I have to like denounce my citizenship? I have to like no, you don't have to denounce anything. Just travel, see the world, stay where you want to stay as long as you want to stay there. If the country that you land in or choose to go to has a requirement for you to do that, then that's one thing. For instance, I have residency here in Senegal, but I don't have citizenship. And that's just to allow us to, own businesses here and do different, things. But, just follow the laws of the land. If it doesn't require you to do that, don't open up that can of worms.
Hold on one second. Hey, Anti-Gravity 74, I need you to post the link in the chat room where Betsy Davos included delinquent student loans to will get your passport taken away. I need you to post that link in the chat room. Yeah,
they're instituting a lot of things like that because this is the thing. In the United States, obviously, when we first came there on those ships, those people who were founding that nation had no intention of ever giving us freedom.
Right.
You understand this? When they brought us there, when they spent their money and time shipping hundreds and thousands and millions of us over there, they never had an idea or an inclination or an intention of ever giving us any kind. All right. Fast forward 300 years later, we get free from slavery, but we still are suppressed and aren't allowed to do a lot of things. We're not allowed to travel freely. We're not allowed to go where we want. We're not allowed to talk we want. We're not allowed to even communicate as we want because of laws like Jim Crow and things of that nature. Then you fast forward another 100 years to 1965, right? They say, okay, you can integrate with us, but the only thing that did, and the only reason they did that, because they needed us to work for their organizations and institutions, to build their organizations and institutions, so they could pay us less than they would pay, one of their own, and they could work us a little harder. So now you fast forward 50 years that, and you just take a look and you say,
I think we lost
we serve the purpose. I'm sorry.
No, you were going in and out, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they want us there because we service in running their business. Obviously, they make a great deal of money off of us. We shop in their stores. Just think about it. Why would they want us to leave? Obviously, they're going to make it more and more difficult the farther and farther you go. Some of us saw this come, 5-6 years prepared for it, and purportedly to where we could be able to try and build something on both sides. But for those who are sitting and waiting to see, I guarantee you in the near future, it will get more and more difficult to leave. It will get more and more difficult to travel freely and do those type of things. So, those things are changing every day. With the current administration and a lot of the current views that are going on in the United States, it's kind of a volatile situation. So it's not something you sit back and watch for too long, for sure.
Someone in the chat room made the statement, build where you are first, then expand, not the other way around. It's a better advantage that way. Don't build in Africa first and then America. Worst way to go. How do you feel about that statement?
Well, what I would say to that statement is, haven't we already built where we are in America? We already gotten degrees and our work and business experience. Haven't we already, practiced all of these different organizations and groups and institutions and haven't we already, certain industries to where we have professionals that can help us in industries, everything from the bottom to the top? Haven't we already, united mentally and woke up and seen the challenges we face? What left is there to build? We've already built as much as we need to build within our own, skills, etc. Now it's time to take those talents and skills and experience and degrees and take them somewhere where we can use them that they will benefit us and our people rather than benefiting the people who have historically oppressed us. So yes, I completely agree. Before I moved here in 2014, I had to build a great deal before I came here. I had to, man, for 10 years I've been planning this. It's been a long time. I came here for the first time in 2001. 2002, went back home, and ever since I knew I was going to come back. 12 years before I made it. So in that 12 years, I went back and I built. I went back and I studied media, which is one of the main things that I do here today. I made over 100 films, videos that you can find online that show you the different things you can expect here on the ground, different opportunities and options, etc. I studied marketing and sales, and now I use those same skills that I studied in America here on the ground with Made in Africa Project, and it's how we've been able to sell, thousands and thousands of pieces of product from here on the ground to buyers around the world. I studied communications. I studied, organization development, and that's what took with Young and the Give One Project and to develop young people here on the ground. So yeah, absolutely, build first and then come. But just be conscious of the time frame, right? You got to set goals. You can't just be like, yo, I'm building here, right? No, you say, look, I'm building until this time. I'm giving myself 5 years to build. I'm gonna learn everything I need to learn. I'm gonna go to school, get my degree. I'm gonna, get into the workforce, give me some work experience. I'm gonna, marry the woman of my dreams and put our money away, whatever, right? You can do that. You can build. I'm not saying you gotta just pick up and fly out the car, right? So building, obviously, everybody's gonna be on different levels. Everybody in the whole Black community is not gonna, build to the same level at the same time and move. So obviously, it's something that's gonna happen in phases.
And Legendary M just asked a great question in the chat room, and we've been addressing this on previous videos. He says, why is it always put on Black Americans to build in Africa? Why can't Africans help us build? It seems backwards to me. And let me add to this. So there's a documented history of Black Americans going to Africa and building institutions for Africans in Africa. But here in America, you don't see African countries building institutions for Black Americans. What are your thoughts on that? It's not reciprocated. What are your thoughts on that? Oh, did we lose the brother? Damn, Legendary M, I'm sorry. Hold on. Ah, shit. Damn. I think we lost him. All right, brother. Let's give him 5 more minutes to hop back on, and that'll probably be the last question. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Chima, my brother, thank you so much for contributing. Chima, are you in Washington, D.C.? Where are you located? You're in Maryland, right? And Chima says, excuse me, Suggestion to every black man and woman in the United States: get your passports before it's too late. I agree. Also, shout out these super chats. If I can find how do I get to the rest of the super chats? Everybody who super chatted, thank you so much for super chatting. Scorpio Stings, thank you so much for the super chat. And Spectre from Salem Town, thank you so much for super chatting. Hopefully we get the brother on so he can answer that question. Carlos Correa, Magna Fi, Tafa Fall, Nagadef. Hopefully we get this brother back on. I see Nama, who non-legendary. I see Nama. Okay. Oh, Dynus, I made a mistake. It doesn't include student loans. Yeah, that would be crazy. Everybody would lose their passport privileges if that was the case. Everybody, damn near everybody would lose their passports if that was the case. Hopefully we get the brother back on. Let me send him a message. And this will be the last question. Let's see here. We lost you again. Let me send him the link again. Hopefully he comes back. So what I'll tell him, we'll go ahead and turn his video off. Oh, all right, brother, you back?
Yeah, man.
You got kidnapped by aliens again? You let you go? You fight them off?
Spaceships keep swooping in, man.
All right, did you hear my question?
Yeah, can you repeat it?
Yeah. So the question was, let me scroll back up to it. But basically, there's a documented history of Black Americans building infrastructure and institutions in Africa for Africans. But that's not reciprocated here in America. You don't see African countries building any type of institutions or providing any type of resources for Black Americans. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, two thoughts. Number one, I mean, we can't really say that that's true because for one, we just talked about the amount of Africans that leave and come to America and get degrees and end up working there, and they end up being many of our, dentists and doctors and lawyers and et cetera. But there have been many Africans who have built with African Americans there. The question is, how many African Americans have looked for that information? Okay, so for instance, my particular spiritual advisor and teacher, Sheikh Hassan Sise, came to the United States in the late 1970s, I believe. And his sole mission when he came to the United States was to connect with Black Americans, teach them about their culture, and provide opportunities bilaterally with them. And he did that from the 1970s until his passing in 2008. He married an American woman. And together they built communities all over the United States, in New York, in Detroit, in DC, in Atlanta, where I'm from. There are families, dozens and dozens and dozens of families that build and connect with that community. And he's not the only one. That's just the one that I, particularly am involved with. I'm sure there are tons of others. But again, the question is, how many Black Americans have actually reached out and made that connection? I'm pretty sure you see Africans all the time in your neighborhood. But how many people reach out to that African and say, hey, how can we link up and network, rather than, insult them or call them a, African booty scratcher, or make jokes about Ebola and, Boko Haram, right? So, you have to be mentally in a place to accept that kind of help, because it's there. It's all around you. I know dozens and dozens of Africans that live in America that come from great families here that have opportunities to there. Perfect example, Chon Young, who I work with, Give One Project. He's the co-founder of Akon Lighting Africa. He's from right here in Kaolack, where I live in Senegal. Mm-hmm. He came to America in 2008, right? Was the president, or what was over the Young Democrats Association in Cleveland. One of the President Barack Obama elected in 2008. And stood on stage with Barack Obama while Barack Obama commemorated him and thanked him for his service. This is an African, that came there and was very vocal and very active and very involved in development of politics and development. And even until today, he's still there in America, speaking at universities, interacting. He was also, I want to say, the ambassador of energy. I'm sorry if I'm misquoting it, but he had an energy post with the Obama administration. And again, this is somebody who's from Africa. So to answer your question, yes, there are Africans coming there all the time and providing bridges and opportunities, bilateral communication that's there. But a lot of us ain't trying to hear it. You know, like I say, you see most Africans, you know, in our communities, and disrespecting them, or treating them like they're less than, when in all actuality that African that you're in class with, or that you live next door to, see in passing, more than likely have resources that you could use if you just opened up that line of communication from an honest and respectful standpoint.
Okay, so let me ask you this: how do you think this is going to play out in the future for Black Americans here in America?
I mean, I see a number of different end games, and I guess those different end games really just depend on the path that Black Americans take. We've seen, the effects of situation in our environment in the United States. We've seen it not get better, but potentially get much worse. We've also seen the level of treatment not get better, but get worse. And then also we've seen what's happening here on the ground in Africa. We see the real statistics. We're not about the bubble figures that we hear that they throw up in the air. We're talking about real proof. Okay, here on the ground in West Africa, we see all of the time development, tons of building, houses, houses. There's being built, Senegal. There's a whole city being built, whole industrial city being built. They just built a brand runs border to border across the country. By the end of this year, they'll train only the second in Africa. One of those really fast trains. You can't even find one of those in America. You can't even find one of those in America, and they're building the second one here in Africa. Okay, we're seeing here on the ground extreme amounts of investment and development, and then let's take it on the side. Let's go into a Black American community and tell me development, productivity, how much growth, None. We don't see any. The only growth you're gonna see is gentrification. When they come and growth your city, you're getting kicked out.
You got a point.
When they bring growth city, you're getting kicked out. Straight up. That's just proof. It's fact. If you can show me one place in America where they are mass developing a Black community, right? Building new houses and things and business schools, they're not doing that. They're tearing down your schools. We can't look at this from an emotional standpoint of, but I'm attached to here. This is my hood. This is all I know. I got this loyalty to this, place, right? Mm-hmm. What is it doing for you? What is it doing for you? Your schools are bad.
Right.
Food is poison. Government obviously don't care nothing about it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
The healthcare system is drugged through the mud. The real estate system is messed up. They're kicking you out your house. The banks.
And it was crazy, RJ. And it was crazy, RJ. Not to cut you off. Like, so when you bring up the real estate, so you go move into a predominantly Black neighborhood, and the real estate values go down.
Exactly.
Like all the educated Black people get together, they pool their money, they go build their own or move to a predominantly Black enclave. And, we were talking about no crime. Everyone has a degree. Everybody has a Mercedes. The values go down.
Trust me, I lived in one of those neighborhoods. One of the neighborhoods I lived in, if anybody knows anything about Atlanta, back when DeKalb County, far east DeKalb County, Lithonia.
Yeah, Lithonia. There you go.
in the mid-90s, Lithonia was all white.
Mm-hmm.
It was all white in trees. That's the only thing you find in Lithonia, white people in trees.
Right.
Towards the end of the 90s, black people started populating that area. And just like you say, wealthy black people, South Deshaun, Rockbridge, Stevenson area, Rock Chapel area, Atlanta, on down to Mall and even into right? Mm-hmm. Wealthy black people driving Benzes and Escalades and, you know, having nice jobs and $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 houses, right? And as soon as all those black people moved in there, what happened?
The $300,000 house was turned into $150,000 house.
$125,000. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we see the proof, man. And we see it's not fair to us to keep on investing in things that we know will lose value or will be destroyed once we do investment. It's not fair to us. It's not fair to you to work and build, you know, and save up your hard-earned money and then put it into something that's going to get taken from you, right? We know too many people who bought houses, right, paid those houses for 20 years only to hear the bank say, well, the interest is twice as much as it was back then. Now we got to kick out. We all know people like that.
Right.
I know one person, not one story here in Senegal of somebody being kicked out of the day. As they call it, mook, never. Doesn't happen. You buy your house here on the ground, you own your land, you build your house with your money, can't nobody kick you out your house. Mook, never. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
So when you look at those two things, let's not be emotional about it. Let's get attached to that house, neighborhood, or that, you know, block, right? Let's think about it logically, right? What do the stats say? How many people do you know in America own their house outright, free and clear, without any risk of losing it in the future, tank or two?
None.
Properties or
Rarely.
whatever else. How many? I don't know any.
All right.
I don't know.
And then I would say
the only people that I know that have nice houses in America are drowning in mortgage debt. They're killing themselves working 2-3 jobs to pay for that is, you know, the interest is rocketing while the property value is plummeting.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, let's be fair to ourselves. Let's not put ourselves in the position to repeat the same thing our, you know, parents and grandparents and ancestors did. You know, our parents, you know, back in the 60s and 70s, that was a thing. You know, buy a house, picket fence, really there, be there forever. Now in 2018, it's not a reality. It's not real.
You hit the hammer. You hit it out the park. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. No, I can't disagree with you on that one. I can't. Let's see if we have any more questions in the chat room. But RJ, go ahead and share with people your you know, Made in Africa project, and also share with people the cafe you started and how it's going. Nah, we didn't lose them again. I hope not.
That was one of the first goals in coming here, was we understood that our people in America didn't have access to communication with people here, and the people here on the ground didn't have access to us in America, and it was a divide in communication. So that was one of the first things that we want to bridge, and that's how the Made in Africa project came about. When we came here in Senegal, we found that there's tons of production of goods. I was even talking to a gentleman earlier today, and he swore up and down that Africa has no handle on production of goods, and I beg to differ. Mm-hmm. I've never seen more people producing goods in my life, never in America.
Right.
People here buy clothes. You're wearing something that was here on the ground and
produced, handmade.
I'm wearing a custom-made top from here on the ground also. So, you know, when we bought our clothes, we didn't pay Macy's or JCPenney's or, you know, Marshalls, right? We paid an actual person that has to feed their family and pay their bills. So when you look at that, you look at the fact that here in Senegal, there is a huge opportunity in that. So project, and we just pretty much just bridge the gap. We really just brokered. These people already make these goods, and these people are already looking for the goods. All we do is stand in the middle and say, hey, you're looking for clothing.
Yeah, I think we lost a brother again. You there, RJ? Did we lose you? All right, but everybody, again, thank you for joining us. Dynasty Mirror, search for Uhuru. I think that's in there. Just message me. Let's see here. It's not. If you guys are new to the platform, please like and share. Also, please subscribe as well. Make sure you go to searchforwho.com, searchforwho.com. My allergies are killing me, you guys. You have to excuse me. Please go to searchforwho.com, go to dynastymirror.com. Also go to amazon.com, search your name, Dynasty Mirror. Please buy a book. Also, search for Uhuru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Please follow, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Let's give the brother a couple more minutes, see if he can hop back on. And then what we'll do, we'll go ahead and close out. All right, guys, we'll go ahead and get out of here. I will make sure I'll put RJ's. In fact, let me go ahead and put his information in the chat room. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. This is the Made in Africa project information. Let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in here. So please go to this link, madeinafricaproject.com. Check it out, please. Do it again. And also I'll give you RJ's contact information, you guys. So you can reach out to RJ right there. And let me see if I can find information on the article in regards to the cafe he built out there in Senegal. RJ Mahdi Cafe. Let's see here. Here we go. I am Medina Bai. RJ.
I'm here, man.
Okay, no problem. Now, somebody was talking shit in the chat room. I kind of want to say, tell you what he said. Don't take this personal. He said, "Why should I invest in Africa when your internet keeps going in and out and you have a crack in your wall?" Now, somebody like that, how would you respond?
I wouldn't even respond.
Oh, okay.
Trolls don't deserve responses.
Okay, there you go. All right, no problem. But go ahead and finish with your
So Made in Africa project. That's what we bridge the gap between the sellers here on the ground, the buyers abroad, just to help build that economic connection. And like I said, it's been very successful. We've been able to help a lot of people here on the ground to improve the quality of their work. We've been able to help a lot of people on the ground to build relationships with other professionals abroad that they can be on a regular basis supplying them with goods, and that's what we need right now. We need that kind of economic exchange, and I think that with the development of programs like that, we're going to see more and more interest in Africa and in being able to come and do business. I made a post earlier. It was funny that Belgium, who moved to Africa, a white guy, moved here. He felt like he was connected to Africa. He came here, he got a wife, he had kids, he started a business, he's here on the ground, he's in love with Senegal. And it struck me as funny because it's like, you know, the Europeans, the Arabs, the Asians, they're
Lebanese.
all very comfortable. Yeah, they're very comfortable coming here, setting up businesses, setting up shop, living here, living on the ground, you know, embedding themselves in the society, learning the language. We're running into Chinese people out here speaking Wolof. You understand what I'm saying? Hello?
Yeah, I'm right here. We're good. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We're running into people here on the ground, you know, Chinese people, white people, Arab people who are speaking the native languages. And then you talk to a Black American and you say, "Hey, come back to Africa," and they're like, "Why should I come to Africa? You know, what's Africa done for me?" And what, you know, and it's like somebody's telling you that there's an opportunity for you somewhere, that you can live a little better somewhere, that you can have a little more options somewhere. And the first thing you say is, "But why? Why should I?" You know. And nobody else is doing that. All the other cultures around the world see the value in it, and they're here taking advantage of it. And the first thing that you're going to hear a Black American say is, "Well, why are those white people over there? You know, why is Africa letting the Chinese come in and do everything?" Well, because you're not.
Right.
They got somebody. They gotta trade with somebody. They gotta have bilateral communication and operations and economic from somewhere. Every great nation in the world has trade partners. America trades with everywhere in the world. You're not mad at China, you know, buying half of America and America being in debt to China, but you're Africa doing business with China, or Chinese people in Africa bringing their goods and services. So I'm just saying that to say, you know, don't be somebody to criticize if you're not, you know, actually engaging in yourself, because somebody is, and you know the opportunities are here. They're not gonna float midair. Somebody get them. You don't come get. We just try to give you free game. We just telling you where the opportunities are at. You know, but if you don't come get them, trust me, somebody gonna get them and take advantage of them. You're just gonna be the one sitting back in 5 years saying, "Damn, I should have jumped on that when it was hot." You know, but you know, to each his own. Though not everybody's gonna, not everybody.
All right, cool. And go ahead and give everybody your contact information, and we'll go ahead and close out.
Yeah, you can find me on the social media at RJ Mahdi. That's at KINGRJMAHDI. On Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We've got, you know, over 100 YouTube videos on well, between two channels. I have my own channel, RJ Mahdi. I also have another channel for the city of Medina Bay. We've got 40 videos there. But yeah, man, just do some research, man. Just go on your Google and just, you know, start to do some research. You can also go to our website, madeinaafricaproject.com. That's madeinaafricaproject.com, just how it's spelled. And, you know, watch our videos, see, you know, photos and the different things that we're engaged here on the ground, the different organizations that we partner with and that we, you know, share resources with. And, you know, do your own research, man. I can't force anybody to do anything. You can't drag a horse to water. But, you know, hopefully we can just show you that the water exists and you're intelligent enough to take advantage of it.
All right, brother. I appreciate it. Everybody, once again, thank you for coming on. Thank you for joining us. Till next time, search for Huru, the brother RJ Mahdi. Peace.
Thanks, bro.
Hey, hold on 1 second, RJ. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Let me stop it real quick. Hold on. 1 second.